Hey guys, welcome to another episode. Today we are here to talk about the movie Great Expectations, the 1998 version specifically. Some of you guys might be familiar with the book because that's where the movie originated from. Is the book Great Expectations, and I want to talk specifically about the one with Ethan Hawke and Gwyneth Paltrow because I think that this might be the best adaptation of the book, what it's about, and what the whole meaning behind this story is. Now, for any of you that have read the book or have watched the movie or have watched the other movie, you might still be confused as to what it's about. What is the whole point behind the whole the whole build up, and then why does it eventually fall apart? Now, if you've never seen Great Expectations or have no intention on seeing Great Expectations, then feel free to disregard this episode. But even if you don't want to see it, or if you've never seen it, please stick around. Do not turn off this video, because I think that this is very important for you to understand what was the actual intent, what was the actual purpose behind this story, because I think it's something that has just been completely scraped from our society. And now we have this very gray and very distorted definition of what love is. Now, you might think of this as just, it's just a movie. It doesn't actually represent real life. It's just a kooky idea that somebody came up with decades or centuries ago. And, the whole purpose behind somebody writing like a poem, right? Or a movie, or if you're a musician and you have this idea for a song, right? I think when you try and compare art with real life, I think that those two things are very parallel to each other. I think that without art, I think people will have a really hard time trying to make sense out of what life is really about. What is the real meaning behind love, and so on. But I wanted to go ahead and just run this through with you guys as quick as I can. I'm not going to spoil the whole movie for you, but I'm just going to give you guys some details. I'm gonna go from the start, and then I'm gonna go through the middle towards the end here. But basically, it starts off with Finnegan Bell, Finnegan Bell, played by Ethan Hawke, and he starts off as a child, and he loves to draw. He loves to go outside. He loves to do sketches of different animals, different sea life. He likes to paint the grass. He likes to do his own adaptation of what the actual thing is, and he's really into it. He's really fired up, and he's passionate about it. And there's some adventures that he has as a little kid that I'm not going to get into here today, but essentially he at a very young age, he already knows who he is. He already knows what his purpose is, what his passion is. And it wasn't until he was invited into this woman's mansion. The woman goes by the name of Miss Dinsmore, and she's a very wealthy woman. Her house her house might actually be three times the three times the size of my apartment building. It is a very large mansion. She's very rich. She has a lot of cats in her house, and as described by Finn in the movie, he walks into the house and it is just dirty. It's filthy. There's cobwebs everywhere. It smells of cat piss. And she is just a very miserable, depressed, bitter old woman. And she got that way because her fiance had decided to stand her up at her wedding. She was waiting at the altar, and he just wasn't there. And she never recovered from that. And she spent her whole life. It didn't matter how much money she had or how big her house was. Nothing could ever fill the void of her fiance basically just disappearing and never giving her a reason why, never having that one-on-one conversation with her. And so Finn, he goes to this woman's house, and she hires him as her full-time artist. And he does this throughout his childhood, up until he graduates high school. He's worked full-time as her artist. So he would draw things for her every week, and along the way he meets her niece. Her niece's name was Estella, and at first it was he was super awkward and didn't know how to talk to women, and he was very much an introverted teenager. And when Estella comes along, he is just blown away. He falls head over heels for her. He puts her up on this huge pedestal where he thinks that he can't ever do anything right by her. Everything has to go exactly according to plan, and everything just has to be perfectly aligned for him to earn her favor, or so he thinks at the time. Remember that this is all in his head, but the movie doesn't actually make that clear. It's never actually talked about, but that is what's going on in his head. What is going on in his head as he is dating this woman, as he is courting this young girl, Estella, played by Gwyneth Paltrow? He's just too into his own head, and he asked her out for prom, and so he was about to go and pick her up, take her to prom, and she gets in his car. They decide to go back to his sister's boyfriend's or ex-boyfriend's house. And they had this moment. She takes off. He goes to Miss Dinsmore's house to try to see if she's there, and she turns around and tells him she took off. She left Florida to go to New York, and he is just dumbfounded. He is heartbroken. He doesn't know why she would just take off like that without saying a word. And then and then 7 years go by, and he's a full grown adult, and he's not he's still he's still a very young guy. He's not quite at the point yet where he should just let everything go, just completely give up on himself, but he has. He continues to work for, he continues to work with his sister's ex-boyfriend for, his fishing company, and that just becomes his life. He is no longer painting. He's no longer doing any kind of art. He's decided that that's all behind him. But then he receives this invitation to go to. I'm going to make this a two-part because it looks like we're running out of time. He decides that he's just completely given up. But then this guy, this lawyer, comes along. He has this meeting with him and his brother, his ex-boyfriend's, sister's ex-boyfriend, and he makes this offer to him. And the offer is, we have this one-man show going on in New York in a few weeks, and we would like you to be there to show off your artwork. And this guy has like a year's worth of a collection of artwork to display. And he invites him. He even pays him. He hands him this envelope full of money. And at first he rejects it, because he's decided, he's given up. He's given up on his purpose, and he's just going to coast. He's just going to go about his life like that was never his identity. But as you continue to watch the movie, it is very clear that that the universe is not done with him. And when he goes back to New York, or when he takes a plane and goes to New York, guess who he runs back into? Estella. They are full-grown adults now. A lot of time has passed, but it doesn't seem like any time has passed. And again, at this point, Finn has gotten older. He's become a little bit more confident in himself compared to how he was when he was 17, 18, or whatever he was. But he's still that same awkward dude that feels like that he has to impress everybody. He feels like he has to put on this facade. He feels like he has to put on this mask still. And he feels like he still has to impress her. They decide to schedule a meeting, and at the meeting he meets her fiance. I'm going to go ahead and shut this off and move on to part 2, but feel free to continue with me, guys, to part 2, because this is very important. This is something that I think we should really talk about, because it has to do with love. It has to do with finding your purpose. So anyway, guys, see you in part 2.